Welcome back to Brands Hatch for round 15 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship here on BSR TV with me, Chris Cohen, and in the commentary box this evening, delighted to say, is Dan Blake. Exciting race 2, Dan. It can only get better from here, surely.
Yeah, the reverse grid always seems to spring a little surprise or two up, and I think this one will be no different. There's some quite fast drivers in this mid-pack. I think one driver in particular who could get a podium finish out of this is Mark Fletcher, one of our newcomers. I think he might have a chance of a podium, but the main thing is the Coba Lopez Cats and the Richard Wild. It'll be interesting to see what order they come through in, because they've been in the same order for the first 2 races, and now that Coba Lopez in a different position, instead of being in front of them, having to keep them behind, he's got to go on the attack. So will he be able to get past them is a question, and we've got about 16 laps to find that out.
So reverse grid, as we mentioned, this will be the first 10 positions. So if you came 10th in the last race, you'll be first, and if you won the last race, if your name is Mr. Lopez, you will be starting in 10th position. But give us a rundown of our first 10 places on that grid.
Yeah, we got in the pole position for the second week in a row, Steve Richardson. So he had the pole position for this race at Laguna Seca. He's done it again, and alongside him on the front row, we have got Carl Shaw. So Carl Shaw will be alongside him on the first row. Who we got on the second row, Chris?
Czepelewski takes the 3rd place. It's Chris Shaw, actually, I believe, rather than Carl Shaw. But easy to get those two confused. There is a Carl Shaw as well in the series. So yeah, so Czepelewski takes 3rd place. Tristan Bodis, very interesting to see how he does in this race. Not usually amongst the top 10 finishers, but done very well to get to 4th on the grid. And Fletcher 5th, Terry 6th, Grunhill 7th, and then we're sort of talking about the big 3 of the night, Dan.
Yeah, we've got Richard Wild starting 8th position, and on the 5th row, Andreas Katz and our double race winner, Ede Coba Lopez. And no driver, I don't think, in this season has managed to win all 3 races, so Coba Lopez will be looking to claim a bit of history in his first meeting.
And you've got to say, pole to flag in 2 races, taken maximum points so far. Realistically, what are his chances of going from 10th to 1st and taking that victory in 16 laps, each of which is 47 seconds?
I don't think he'll be able to do it, in all honesty. He's got a lot of cars to get through, and also the further back down the field you are, the more chance you are to get involved in an incident or 2 along the way. Paddock Hill and Druids, as we've seen in the first 2 races, have proved problem points, and in the last reverse grid race we saw at Laguna Seca, some of the drivers who finished well in the second race had problems in the final race. So if they could avoid the carnage, I wouldn't have thought Coba Lopez would be outside the top 3, but a win maybe a bit too much, but we'll see. We haven't got long to find out, because the cars are lining up on the grid now for this 3rd and final race of the day.
And just a moment to talk about Adam Terry as well, who finished very well in the first 2 races last time out at Laguna Seca, and then had a bit of a nightmare in the 3rd race. Could we see a repeat of that this time round? I mean, Terry is starting from the 6th place on the grid, so his championship will be damaged by this if he doesn't manage to get some points this time round.
Yeah, because Adam Terry is losing points out to Andreas Katz. Andreas Katz missed the last meeting, but he's slowly gaining points. But for Adam Terry, Ellis Stevens not having a very good meeting, sort of making up for that. He's pulling away from him, but I think Ellis Stevens will be bitterly disappointed as we go into this last race.
Brands Hatch, and they're green. Richardson away from the line, ahead of one of the Yuasa cars there, and one of the Addison Lees down the inside as they all start to bunch up for the first corner, Dan.
Yeah, Czepelewski, that was the Addison Lee car, but Chris Richardson has a lead, but maybe not for long, because Stelian Czepelewski from 3rd on the grid is going to take the lead. One of the Speedworks cars has taken 2nd. Mark Fletcher also amongst it, and as we come down now, I think it's been a very clean start by all involved, but it's at the moment we've got the car, it's Czepelewski leading. We have the car in 2nd position as a Speedworks car, then Richardson's 3rd, Fletcher 4th, and Shaw in 5th. What's happened with the Wild and Katz? In fact, Wild has found, that's a good start, I think, from our winner, Ade Coba Lopez. Coba Lopez has got himself up, and He's got a car, but it's interesting to see where Andreas Katz is. Andreas Katz is behind, so on that first lap, in fact, Cobo Lopez has got past both of them. So a very, very good first lap for Mayday Cobo Lopez. He's shown not only can he take it from the front, but when he's further down the field as well, he's able to gain the positions. He's up into 7th position already, and his next target is going to be the car of Dave Grunnell, but Dave Grunnell going down the inside of Chris Shaw there, going into Druids, and Cobo Lopez will be trying to follow him through. And I think he will just about follow him through, you know.
Cobo Lopez on the outside of Graham Hill, but he's got the room. So Cobo Lopez now is up into the 5th position, I believe.
6th position.
6th. He's in 6th position, just behind Dave Grunnell.
Yeah. He's got Dave Grunnell in front of him, and then there's Mark Fletcher, and the cars of Steve Richardson. Tristan Bottas, you said before about him having a good meeting. He's in 2nd position, so Tristan Bottas is probably the meeting of his season so far, but steady on Chipolesky, 1.7 seconds in front of Tristan Bottas. So you got Richardson in 3rd, with Fletcher in 4th position. Grunnell is in 5th, but around the outside of Fletcher and the car of Grunnell is coming Ade Cobo Lopez. He's already going past Grunnell. He's going to have the inside against Mark Fletcher coming down to Graham Hill, but Fletcher does well there. But then he's going to try and come out against Cobo Lopez, and I think there may be a little bit of a touch there between the two of them, because Fletcher's gone off wide, and they both slow down a little bit, but the end result is Cobo Lopez has gained another position, so he's up into 4th position already, and his next target is Steve Richardson. We said it before about him getting three straight wins, and with isn't at the moment, I think he could very well do that, but he's got Richard Wild as well, not too far behind him. The only car separating them two is Mark Fletcher, but Cobo Lopez is already up into the 4th position.
And this man is just on fire, and apologies to anyone watching this who is a little bit confused by the footage. The camera system just crashed, so I had to reboot that, and it was a little bit out of sync for a while. So as Cobo Lopez now looking to make a move on Steve Richardson on lap 4 down into Graham Hill Bend, thinks better of it, tucks it in behind as they come out down the straight towards Surtees. He's on the inside down into Surtees, but they have the outside for clearways, but he's through.
Good move.
He is through. He made that look easy.
Fantastic move. Richardson, he did. Steve Richardson lost a lot of momentum coming out of Graham Hill Bend with these cars. If you lose speed at low end, it does affect you a lot, and he found out to his cost. But Cobo Lopez on the podium already in 3rd position. Next target for him is Tristan Bottas, and Cobo Lopez is only about 3.9 seconds behind our race leader. As for the others, we got Richard Wild in 6th position. Andreas Katz, though, is a big loser. He's currently down in 13th position at the moment. So Andreas Katz not having the best of 3rd races. As we said before about Adam Terry in the last race, it seems like it's a bit the same for Andreas Katz. And speaking of Adam Terry is currently in 8th position, but he's in a race here with Dave Grunnell and the car of Steve Richardson, I think, who's dropped down. Yeah, Steve Richardson has dropped down a couple positions there, so he's down into the clutches now of Dave Grunnell, and Mark Fletcher has managed to get past Richard Wild. They're on a bit of a battle fight, he was in front of them anyway, but Mark Fletcher in 5th position. So the cars come down now to start their 6th lap. Chipolesky 2.7 seconds in front. He's trying to pull away, but Cobo Lopez has taken 6/10 out of him alone on the last lap. It's now 3.4, but he's got Tristan Bottas in between him and that Addison Lee car in the lead.
Yeah, and we just saw on the last lap there Mark Fletcher making moves. He's up to 4th, Richard Wild up to 5th. They both leapfrogged Steve Richardson, and we're currently watching Steve Richardson with Grunhill and Terry right behind him. Terry will be looking to make up for that last race incident. Well, not incident, but he did get pipped by Grunhill in that last race through a tiny mistake of his, and we had a little word with Dave afterwards as well about that, and he's looking for a way round. Richardson might end up holding these two up. Richardson not a slow driver himself at all, which just goes to show what the standard is like up front, as Tristan Bottas is still running in the 2nd position, so he's dropped now 2.8 seconds down. And Lopez, look at Lopez down the inside now into Druids. Bottas made a little bit of a mistake. That Speedworks car, the blue and white one there, made a mistake. He's trying to keep his foot in there, but he's going to do it as well. He's kept his foot in around Graham Hill, squeezes out
Very
Cobo
well
Lopez.
done there.
And I don't know how he's done that, but Cobo Lopez is going to look for another way round, as he's almost done it through Surtees. As two side by side.
Lopez, he's done him. Tristan Bottas did very well to defend there against the car of Cobo Lopez. He didn't make it easy for him, and in turn this allowed Mark Fletcher and Richard Wild to catch up to both of them, but Cobo Lopez is now through, and his next target is the Addison Lee car, Estelian Chavievsky, and the gap between them is 4.8 seconds, so that's cost them some time. And in front of them, I just saw a Pertec Racing car go skating across the gravel. He's just in front of them, but these four are battling fiercely for second place.
Mark Fletcher now under pressure from Richard Wilde, who's in 5th. He wants to take that 4th position. Fletcher goes defensive. And one of the Pertecs basically having to stop on the outside of that corner as a gaggle of faster cars coming through. It must be difficult for some of these back markers sometimes. And Wilde now down the inside of Fletcher on the straight. He's made the pass. So Wilde is now up to 4th position.
Yeah, he's made the pass, but he's gone wide coming out of the corner. He's just about going to keep it, but Richard Wilde up into 4th position. So that's a position up for him, and he's now trying to get past the car, Tristan Bottas, and Tristan Bottas has proved that he doesn't make it easy for him to get past. Even if your name's Koba Lopez, won 2 races, Richard Wilde, a race winner as well. Tristan Bottas is having a very good race meeting. He's making it hard for them to get past him, and he's also, at the moment, Koba Lopez isn't pulling away from him a great deal. He's still right on the boot lid of Koba Lopez, so Tristan Bottas really is putting a great performance in this final race of the night.
Indeed, and with 7 laps to go, I have to say, Koba Lopez has only managed to chip away 0.1 of a second on the last lap to the lead of Chepelevsky.
Wilde's off on the grass.
Wilde is off on the grass. That is a nightmare for Richard Wilde. Let's have a quick look at that again.
Yeah, he's losing positions. In fact, the car coming in to overtake him now is Adam Terry, so Richard Wilde lost a lot of time now. He was in 4th position, but that mistake is going to cost him a good few positions. He's down into 7th position now. He's got Adam Terry right behind him, and Terry in that Dynojet car looking extremely racy. He's going to maybe try and make a move into Druids, but he knows better than that. Richard Wilde defends the inside line, and then behind them you've also got Simon Field. So Simon Field also in the mix in this final race. He's currently in 9th position, and he's going to try and make a move maybe on Adam Terry as they come into Paddock Hill. And the KX Momentum cars in front of them has gone a bit wide. That's Dave Grunnell in 6th position, but at the moment there's a big battle going on for about 6th place downwards, but at front it's still Chepelevsky leading as he's about to start his 11th lap,
and he's not losing too much of a margin. The gap's now 4.3 between Chepelevsky in 1st place and Lopez, who started 10th, don't forget, who is down in 2nd. Bottas has been pipped, but he's holding his own in 3rd as we watch Dave Grunhill, who's just behind Mark Fletcher now, with Richard Wilde right on his tail. Field behind him. Terry is going down the inside. Terry with a move down the inside takes the position, and Field's been edged out with Richardson, who started on pole, is down to 9th, still holding on to that 9th position, with Chris Shaw just behind him, and Dan Hunt is in the 12th position. Katz, though, the biggest loser so far, I think.
Yeah, Katz has lost out. He's outside of the top 10, but he's got Chris Shaw in front of him, and then he'll be up amongst his gaggle of cars fighting from... Oh, there's a crash there. One of the Dynojet cars. Is that Tristan Bottas? Yes, it is. Unfortunately for Bottas, he got caught up, and that's going to take out Dave Grunnell as well, and that has really put a spanner in the works of those drivers. I think Bottas got caught up there with a slower car. I didn't see it fully. I just saw Bottas go flying across the track quite violently, and unfortunately Dave Grunnell was the victim of that, and Dave Grunnell was pulling over to retire. So that's now one of our front runners, Dave Grunnell, who you spoke to before the race, out of it.
And here's a replay. Bottas, well...
No, we didn't speak to Dave Grunnell.
Oh, and he's hit the barrier. That is disastrous. He's got into the back of the Dynojet car for reasons unknown. There was plenty of room to get around. It's difficult to say. He's bouncing off the barriers like it was a pinball table, really. He's hit the barrier on the inside, one on the outside. That's Grunhill. Grunhill just ahead is basically hard on the brakes trying to avoid that, and it looks like Grunhill's just put it into the barrier, just trying to avoid the incident, really, which is unfortunate because there was no contact at all. So Bottas out, Grunhill now out as well. So we'll take another brief look at that incident, because that was a remarkable incident there. And Bottas is he's ridden the back of that Dynojet car, but I don't know why. I can't seem to see why. He had plenty of room to get on the inside.
It seems very impatient. I don't know really what's happening with Tristan Bottas, but there's certainly going to be a blot on his copybook, because up until that point he'd been enjoying a very, very good meeting, but he finds himself out of the race now, and he's also affected the race of indirectly of Dave Grunnell. So that's going to be something maybe that they're not too impressed about. But when lap 14, we've got to remember we still got a race up here, and Steady and Chipolesky is going to maintain a 4.3 second gap to Eddie Cable Lopez. So at the moment, it looks like all 3 races are going to be won by the new boys. So all the existing drivers need to up their game, because these new drivers really are quick.
And we're just watching Ellis Stevens now. He's up to 9th position, 10th on the screen, as that was the last time they went over the line. He's got Chris Shaw just up ahead of him, and he's just pipped Dan Hunt to get into that 9th position. He's coming back through the field, really, after a disastrous first race put him out. And second race wasn't much better. As Shaw's sliding that car, and Stevens will slip down the inside here. Shaw recovers well, but I think he's going to lose out down the straight.
Yeah, Stevens going to try and go past
Dan Hunt now down the inside.
The car in front of him, we got the car of Andreas Katz, who's made some places through that drama we saw before. And there's a bit of door banging there between Chris Shaw and the other car on the inside. There's a bit of contact there. Was that Dan Hunt? Yeah, it is Dan Hunt. So Dan Hunt and Chris Shaw getting stuck in the late stages of this one.
2 laps to go then, and you have to say Dan Hunt didn't have enough down the inside really to force Chris Shaw to yield that position, as our race leader is coming over the timing line now with to come onto the he's coming onto his last lap. Lopez,
his final lap,
4.4 seconds down now, and you have to say this one's Chepelevsky's, don't you?
I will, when he crosses the line. Anything can happen in British touring car racing, and it usually does, but at the moment Chepelevsky is looking quite a safe bet to take victory. I don't think he's going to get in any of the back markers in front of him either. He's probably going to have a clear run to the flag, but Chepelevsky, on the first couple of laps, he made some moves to take himself into the lead, and since then he's not really moved, and I think he will take this victory unless something dramatic is going to happen, which is not going to happen, I hope, for his sake. He's going to come down through to the end of the straight now, and he's going to kind of take the checker flag. So Stelian Chepelevsky in his first meeting takes victory. Second place for Ade Cobra Lopez from 10th position. A very good drive from him. And third place is going to be Mark Fletcher. I said to expect maybe a result from him, and he's delivered. Fourth is Richard Ward, and sneaking out to fifth is Simon Field. So Simon Field takes 5th position. 6th is going to be Andreas Katz. Ellis Stevens got past Steve Richardson on the last lap to take 7th. Richardson is in 8th position. 9th is Chris Shaw. 10th will be the Dan Hunt car. 11th is Craig Ray in the Speedworks. 12th is Adam Terry. 13th is going to be John Richardson. 14th Stephen Hefford. And rounding out our points finishers in 15th position is going to be Neil Hyman. Nick McCarron just missing out in 16th. Another
poor finish for Nick McCarron. I know he won't be happy with that, but some real big movers in that race. I mean, Katz started well. We're not sure what happened to him, but he dropped a lot of places, and then how did he get into 6th? He got back up into 6th like it was a hot knife through butter.
I think the Granil bodice scenario probably helped the car there of Andreas Katz get a few positions. Simon Field was also a beneficiary, I think, for that little bit of drama, shall we say.
So, I mean, that was clearly the most exciting race of the evening for me. It is a shame, definitely a shame about Tristan Bottas and Dave Grunhill. No contact between those two drivers is worth mentioning. Unless we missed something, Grunhill just got a little bit loose on the brakes trying to avoid that incident and stacked it into the barriers, you could say, of his own doing. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but elsewhere, Simon Field, who had a disastrous first race, comes home 5th. It wasn't even in the reverse grid.
Yes, Simon Field be happy that 5th position, because also it helps him in the championship. But Ellis Stevens has pulled back from he's not had a very good first 2 races, but Ellis Stevens pulls back a good points haul in 7th position. That will be good enough to give him 9 championship points. So a good fight back there from Ellis Stevens, and he needed to get some points after his disastrous first 2 races. But I think the big winners really are 2 new drivers. Well, Ade Cobra Lopez, very quick, Stelian Chepelevsky and Mark Fletcher as well. So in that race, our first 3 drivers are new to this championship. So just shows the strength of drivers which have been attracted to this British Touring Car Championship.
Absolutely, and in fact our timing screens here are showing Stevens in 8th place, Richardson is 7th, but we know the reverse of that is true. It was Stevens in 7th and Richardson 8th, right?
That's what I saw, and that's what I got on my timing screen. Stevens has him by 0.6 of a second, according to my screen.
And let's see if we can have a quick word with Dave Grunhill. He might not be the happiest person in the world right now, but if he has got anything to say, we'll certainly try and get a word with him. Dave, disappointing finish for you in the 3rd race.
Yeah, just a little bit annoyed, but that's the way it goes.
Talk us through that incident on the start-finish straight, if you will.
Well, just saw a couple of cars having a little tussle, and one of them bounced off the barriers, was coming across the track, so I eased off probably 30-40 yards earlier and just got a tap up the backside, and that was it.
So 2 solid results out today, and 17th obviously outside the points in the final race, but not really too disappointing, I've got to say. It was good performance on the track, and something to take forward to Charlotte next week.
Yeah, it's as long, like I said, as long as we all have fun, that's the main thing. When you stop enjoying it, there's no point doing it.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Dave.
No problem.
Alright, let's see if we can have a quick word with Craig Ray, who came home in 11th place, so that's his best finish of the night. Over to you, Dan.
Craig, an 11th place finish for you. What was that race like out there?
Pretty clean most of the way through it, except from one of my teammates decided to have a bit of a tap on me on lap 14, I think it is. So overheated the tyres, I think, and then struggled last 2 laps, but just about managed to fend off 12th place.
We haven't seen much of you on camera this meeting, so how would you say your meeting's gone in general with the first and second races? Where did you finish in those?
Pretty terrible. Managed to get through the first lap carnage on the first race, then second lap, first corner, somebody was sideways on, T-boned them, end of race pretty much. So pretty much I've been trying to catch up all the way through. Second race, tried catch up from 28th on the grid, managed to get back up to 18th, and then essentially try and mount a challenge from there for the last race.
Brands Hatch, one of your favourite circuits, or was this one which you struggled with a bit?
I've struggled actually. Qualified only 18th, I think. Normally I've qualified in each event in the top 10 normally, so I don't know what it is with this track. Doesn't agree with me.
Next week's season go over to America and to Charlotte. Is that a track you like, and what are your hopes for the Charlotte race meeting?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's an easier track for me to do. It's not as intense, I don't think, as Brands Hatch, so hopefully just keep it clean and pick up those top 10 places.
Thank you very much, Craig, and good luck for Charlotte.
Yeah, cheers.
Alright, that's Craig Ray for Speedworks Motorsport, who came home in 11th today. I'm just going to have a quick look to see if we can have a quick word with Simon Field. Simon, are you there?
Yes, mate, yeah.
Simon Field for Wix Racing. Where did that 5th place come from? That was remarkable.
Well, it was again, same as last week, qualified well in race 1 and then threw it off the road and got involved in stuff I shouldn't have been involved in, so then spent the rest of the 2 races recovering. And
is that a common theme you'd like to avoid moving forward in the championship?
Well, yeah, I'd like to stop making silly mistakes, but it's a shame. But again, I've shown I've got strong pace in that last race, so hopefully next week will be better. And
of course, Ellis Stevens missing out on most of the points from the 3 races we've had today. Adam Terry doing pretty well. You were 3rd in the championship coming into this meeting. Probably, I haven't added up the totals myself. Won't be 3rd anymore, but the 2 championship leaders won't have so much of a gap, so it should give you some chance going into Charlotte to grab a good points haul and come higher up the table. So what are your expectations?
Well, to be honest, I hadn't really been looking at the title fight, and if I'd have realised Adam Terry was on top going into that last race, so I might have been a bit more careful, because we did have it coming together. But like you say, we're only just over halfway, so there's a few rounds to go yet. A lot of things can happen, and Ade's come in and had a strong result, and Andreas and Richard are fast as well, so it will close up a lot more before the end.
And no driver yet has gone into all 3 rounds of the British Touring Car Championship and won all 3 in one meeting. Is that something we can see from the Cobra, or do you think that that's just beyond his ability, even for him?
Well, I think if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him, but it all really depends on how the start of the third race goes, doesn't it? I mean, Stellian had a strong start to race 3 and was able to make the gap and keep himself clear, didn't he? So, it depends on the chaos of that third race. I can see him doing it, though. I think he's the only one who will.
Alright, Simon. Well, thanks for joining us, and best of luck next week at Charlotte.
Thank you very much.
Dan, those are 3 fantastic races. We always get good races from brands, especially with such a big field. Highlight of the evening?
Andreas Katz saving the first race. I think that's got to be the highlight of the night for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with that as well. Koba Lopez coming through to win 2 races from the pole, and then starting 10th in the third race and coming second has to be quite high up there as well. If you're watching the third race and you didn't see the first or second races and you want to see that Katz moment again, do check out the second race, because we couldn't get hold of it in the first race, but we pulled back some reel on it in the second race, and it's worth a watch. Is that something you're going to go out and brands and reproduce, having seen that, Dan?
I don't think I quite got the talent levels to do it, but yeah, I think he's got a career in Gymkhana, as you said earlier, Chris.
So that is it from Brands Hatch from BSR TV with me, Chris Cohen, and Dan Blake in the commentary box. We have thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Everyone on track has thoroughly enjoyed themselves as well. And don't forget that the championship is open to anyone with an iRacing membership. If you fancy joining, have a look at BTCC on the league list and sign up if you're interested. Next week, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Until then, thanks for watching. See you next time.